Okay, guys, I want to welcome you to another beautiful day. Today is going to be wonderful Wednesday. So, we're moving into the August in full force heat, and we are ready to roll. So, if you some people might always wonder, why am I always hot and sweating? Well, what's funny is when you are doing Akashic Records, a lot of times what happens after everything opens, even the people that I work for, like the clients and stuff, they will instantly, after I activate, get super hot, and they will start to feel lightheaded and high as a giraffe's ass. And that's something I always tell the people that I do the readings for. So if you feel the energy, get used to it, boo, because it's about to get started. So what's funny, I've noticed that a lot of these podcasts, what happens, I'll be sweating during it, and then I'll see like sweat everywhere. And then a lot of times when I open up, what I do is I will go outside, meditate for a few minutes in the heat, and then come back inside. And I'm already hot from opening up before I ever go outside. So what's funny is I already have the heat and everything else that's affecting me. And then I go outside in like 80s, 90s. Probably today, it's probably like heat index of 100 and some, my luck. So, but long story short, that's normally why I'm hot and I'm sweaty. And that's why you normally see sweat on me is when you open up, normally you get really hot, and it just happens that way. And so normally right before I first start, what I do is I turn on the air conditioning and turn on the fan, and then hopefully within a few minutes it will cool down. So today what we're going to be dealing with, I thought today was either going to deal with that the Lion's Gate or the Leylines. And since I already went over that in the cards, was it yesterday? I can't even keep track of the days anymore. I don't know what the fuck we're in anymore. So, what is today? It's Wednesday. So yeah, it was yesterday morning when I did it. So yesterday when I posted the video, it was about the Lion's Gate. So I wanted to do a channeling on that, but the thing is, I don't want to consume a lot of my energy on bullshit. And I understand astrological things, and things happen for a reason. I understand planetary bodies change people's aspects and their aspirations and all this other bullshit. But a lot of times I have a feeling, I just feel like what's going on right now is people are it's almost like they're sucked into yet another piece of crap, if you get what I mean. So that's what I was feeling when I was looking at all the posts about what's going on with the Lion's Gate. And when you have that gut feeling, I've gotten to the point now when I have the gut feeling, I already know the shit's right. And it's just when I have the gut feeling, and that's what happened before I ever did the tarot cards yesterday. I had that feeling, and then when I did the tarot cards, it told the feeling that I was having. So it validated everything that I already knew. And sometimes I don't like to open my records for everything. I just feel like with natural law, you need to allow some things to happen naturally. And with that said, it happens. So with this being more of a podcast style, what I do is some of the questions that I would normally have, I go ahead and put it in here. So I would have asked, or maybe I would have never asked, but it's a good podcast to be able to like bring light to. So what today we're going to be dealing with is Leylines. And like I was speaking about Leylines yesterday. So what I think is, from what I get, is there's different radiating energies on each ley lines. So each ley line, there's ley lines that go like this all throughout our planetary body, or the realm that we're in, whatever you want to call it. And then each line has a cross point, and these cross points would be, in the middle would be like Washington, D.C. And some people claim that certain energies have a darker energy, so each line has a different resonating energy. With that said, what I would like to know is what energy is where, what do we need to know about the ley lines, how can we really be able to move forward with understanding how the energies resonate throughout the universal body that we have here in this planetary body, to be able to grow from it, right? So if there is more of a draconian energy radiating through the DC, New York, Boston, Delaware, all these and all these other like places down through here, how is that going to fall into place? So I have a few questions, and what we'll do is we will dive right in. Would you like to know a story? So there's a funny story. When I was a child, my parents, my father used to tell me when he was a kid, he was probably like 8 years old, maybe younger. Well, his grandmother raised him as a child, right? So he was in the cellar, and she asked him to go down there to grab one of the chickens out of the cellar. So he ran down to the cellar, grabbed a chicken, and then his cousin, one of his cousins, I'm not quite sure of the name who he was, or maybe it was a friend, I'm not sure. So they went down to the cellar, and when he turned around, there was a man, and he still to this day still tells the same fucking story, and he's like, this person was 8 to 10 feet tall, and he had flames in his eyes, like his eyes were flame red, and he would just stand there and laugh at me. And my father said that all of a sudden he was standing there in the cellar, and you know, when he walked down, the last step was like a big drop. So the ceiling was about that height. Well, when he went into the cellar, he turned around, saw the man, and he literally ran, knocked his friend over, or whoever in the hell that was, and then he ran literally through the screen door to get the fuck out. Well, what's funny, nobody believed his ass. Everybody laughed at him for years. So, his biological sister, her husband today, and my mother, they're still married, they didn't believe him, so they wanted to go see if this Satan really existed. So, next thing you know, they went to what is that called? I guess it's a Satan worshiping ground, I guess is what you would call it. And, well, today that place is like burnt down, is just like a dilapidated piece of shit. But what's funny is they went back when they were in their teens, maybe early 20s. So they went to this devil worshiping ground, and they partied all night. So all they did was they drank, got high, and they partied waiting for Satan, because they claimed Satan was going to come at a certain time during the night of that night that they went. So they were there partying like crazy. Nobody showed up. And next thing you know, my mother at the time was driving like this 1950s, 60s Beetle Bug. So to get back to the Satan worshiping ground, it was probably a 5-mile dirt road and a pig path. A pig path is one lane in, and that's it. So if somebody's pulling in, you literally have to pull to the ditch to allow that person to go past, and then you continue forward. So they were there all night partying. Nothing ever happened. So they were all talking shit. And when they were leaving, they was like, you know what, fuck this, we're done with it. So they all jumped in the car. I think it was like 5 or 6 people, could be even more, who knows, that jumped in the car, and then they start taking off out of the Satan worshiping ground. And when they were pulling out They're midway down this long dirt road, and here comes this black limousine out of nowhere. So they pull to the ditch and allow this limousine to pull up. And then the rear window pulls down, and it was the same being that he claimed he saw when he was a child. And everybody still to this day said that they saw this man with flaming red eyes, and he was just laughing in the back seat, laughing at my father. And my father's over here saying, you know what, let me out of this motherfucking car. I'm going to whoop his ass. My mother said, fuck that shit. She threw the car in, and she had a manual transmission. She's jumping through all these fucking ditches. She knocked every motherfucking hubcap off her car. And she said that she would not stop driving the entire night. So all she did was drive and look for headlights behind her car because she was so terrified that Satan was following her. Well, so long story short, we get to modern day, and I come across this book called Demonology, and it is a fictional book. And what's funny is this fictional book talks about all these elites. So in modern day today, in this book, it talks about the elites of like the people that are part of the system that rules us, right? Well, all these people in this book are actually these demonic entities, and we just don't know that they are. So they're like these old, ancient demon people. And so I was reading it, and then also all these traits that my parents have talked about through the years, through my childhood, was all stated within this book. So I gave my mother the book to read, and she was like, you know what? The book's a little scary, like, because it brings her back to that memory of seeing that thing in the car with flames coming through his eyes and laughing. Well, also, after I mentioned this story to one of my good friends passed away about 1.5 years ago. And I was sitting with her daughter after she passed, and we was speaking about this with my parents. Well, she said, you know what? Every time I've been to Vegas, I keep meeting the same person. And she said, what's funny is everywhere I go, like I'll go to McDonald's today, he'll be there. I'll go somewhere else, he'll be there. I'll go somewhere else, he'll be there. I'll go somewhere else. Every year, she sees the same person in all these places. So, come to find out, he asked her for dinner because he was one of the princes of this entity that I'm talking about. And so they ended up meeting the head person, and she said that is exactly what she saw. The flames in the eyes. And he was telling her about all the flaws in her life and how he could fix it and all this weird ass shit. And her mother's like, we're getting the fuck up out of here. So they headed on out, and they hadn't been back. So it was funny, as she said, I went back a few times, and I actually slept with one of the princes that was working for him. I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me, man. Why the fuck do you want to fuck one of these people? Really? So you're over here wanting to have sex with these motherfuckers? Oh my God, what the fuck's going wrong with you, right? So, okay, so what are ley lines? And that's what we're getting into. So, are these demons or these entities that are praying here, are they running the ley lines? How's this energy coexisting with humanity? That's what I'd like to know today. But I thought you'd like to have a cute little story like that. So let's get on to it. Get on with it. So what direct energy is on the ley lines of the pyramids? And as soon as I said that, it is, so what they're doing is, those pyramids are direct lineages of a specific god. And so they're showing a god of that era. And that pyramid was placed in a specific location with that coordinates for a specific god. But they're showing me like multiple places. So there is different places throughout the world that these things are actually being placed upon for, are those interlining with the same, or are those different ones? It depends on the place and how they're placed. So like Washington D.C., if that is one of the main power points, who is that? Who's that radiating to? And I heard the deity that is now considered Isis. So the ley lines of that PowerPoint is direct communication with Isis, which is Hecate, which is Lucifer. That's all AKA the same damn deity. So does that ley line, so now is that just the PowerPoint of directed to that, or is that the entire like section there? And they're saying no, because each PowerPoint, as it goes down, each one has its own interconnected part. So it's like it has its own energy when it's interconnected. So each one, it can be along the same line, right? But each one that has a PowerPoint, like Washington D.C.'s here, and then Pilot Mountain would be here, just say, and then above that would be Boston. So each one would be a PowerPoint, but each one is different. So they're showing like the reason that okay, so what I'm getting is each god has a specific resonating energy. And I'm not talking about the creator. I'm talking about the like the Jehovah, the Thor, Hecate, Isis, and a lot of the pagan gods. So that's what I just heard was it's a lot of the pagan gods, and also like the Vedic gods. So all these Vedic gods, pagan gods, they're all intertwined within this specific area. Now, when you move into the, like, okay, so in certain areas within the United States, what are they pertaining to? So the New World is more like a new god. So they want to associate the New World with this new god, which is almost like which is not the same as like the Europeans. So they're showing like, so the thing is what they needed to do was they wanted to portray a new being here. And this new being is now, what they wanted to do is the rulers started making this the Rome. Because this is still more like the Rome of the world in the United States. So what they're doing is they are forcing upon the world this new God. And this new God is the anti-messianic age. And that is the New World Order. And so they have created this from like because they're keep like pushing me back to Europe. So they're trying to force everything from like the old European knowledge. So it's like, okay, so we have to think of it like, okay, with the pagan times and the old world knowledge, they're trying to shift us from that knowledge and wipe this knowledge clean. And then what they're trying to do is recreate something to fix their agenda. So their agenda works. So what they did is, as soon as I said that, I saw like literature and books. And so they're showing like, so what they did was they recreated a stigma. And the stigma has been now replaced by the old world knowledge of the European, because most of the last religions was that, because they're showing their segments. It's here, United States, then the Europeans, And then before that, it shows like farther. So each segment gets older and older and older. So it's almost like, okay, so they started here, they started a new segment of religion. Okay, then they was like, okay, so then they start a new segment of religion. And then all of a sudden, then here we're in the European region with another segment of like pagan beliefs. And then that switched from pagan beliefs to Zoroastrianism and all these other affiliates, theosophy. And then that shifted to the New World. So we are now, here we go, we're up and running. So we are rolling from like the pagan beliefs, but what they're doing is they're twisting it, and they're showing like a twisty tie almost. So what they're doing is they're taking the pagan beliefs, twisting it, manipulating it, but what you don't understand is all the beliefs over here in the United States where Rome is now, it's like Zoroastrianism and theosophy all blended with Christianity, if that makes sense. That sounds difficult to explain, but it's like if you go back to a lot of the beliefs before, what happened is a lot of the beliefs, like the Saturnalia is the Christmas tree, and then the god that wanted to fly on the carpet or the chariot, he was from the pagan times. He is now the Santa Claus. So we've now twisted all these things together to create Christianity, if you understand what I mean. So they've taken all these beliefs, but Zoroastrianism and theosophy is like the Frankists. So it's not the same as pagan. They are the dark side, right? So pagan is over here benefiting, like trying to find themselves within and trying to better themselves, communicating with their ancestral gods. Because the thing is we all have ancestral knowledge, right? So when we have ancestral knowledge, we're getting this information from them. But the thing is when you're over here creating these new agendas and then forcing people and then twisting and manipulating, we lose a lot of these aspects of what we assume to be right. Oh, look at this shit. Look how big this box is. I done found, I was looking for my sister-in-law on Amazon, $9.95 for this big ass box. Can you believe that shit? I don't even know how many grams that is. That is one big ass box for $9. You might want to go check it out on Amazon. Straight up. She's on sale, boo. I bought myself one and her one, even though I already had some, but I needed some more. So I went ahead and bought it. So, is the Leylines connecting New York to Boston, is that one of the main causes to where society is moving today? So they're showing that. So what they have now done is they have created so they show money. And the money, all the world is now manipulated by the United States, right? So at this point now, that's like the main line to where money flows, if that makes sense. So Boston, New York, all these are like the money flow. That's almost like a dark, not dark, but the thing is you have to think that's the 3D mindset. We're living and breathing, and we need money, and we need to thrive, and we need all this bullshit, right? So we need to live through their system. So that system is still the 3D. That is material. That is a lower vibration. So you have to think of it like that. So if these people are like manipulating this 3D mindset of this lineage, they can affect parts of the surrounding areas. Now, do the governments understand, and what do they do? And they said the thing is they've understood they've understood this from way back when, and this was so that as soon as I said that, I saw aliens. Of all things, I swear to God, I see aliens all the time. It seems like. So what I do see is these people were taught and trained, and that's why these places are placed in specific areas for specific energy. And they were taught, and what I'm hearing is they were actually taught to place these things at certain areas to harmonize and to be able to live, cohabitate, and live in harmony here. But what they've done is they have now twisted and manipulated and fucked everything up. So everything is upside down and inside out, and I'm going to show you folks what it's all about. Take you back to the old school where it's so cool. Do you remember that song? I tell you, that song keeps coming up on these podcasts because that's about how it works here today. We are twisted and all fucked up. So is there a way the population can change the things if we can put enough energy into them? And what's funny is, okay, so that takes me back to the placement of me being right here. So, okay, so all these people are now awakening, right? And while we are awakening, we are starting to evolve the properties around us. While we are evolving the properties around us, we are shifting the energy within the space. While that's said, that is actually affecting them. So it's doing the reverse effects from what they initially wanted. So what they're trying to do is a specific thing on specific angles, and they're at these power points. So these star seeds are now placed in specific areas all through the world at this point. And the reason we are placed here is to shift the energy that they have corrupted, because they've taken it and manipulated it. Now, what I do want to mention is lately I have been noticing a lot more spirits lately, and I think it has to do with the Leo season that we're moving into. So if you do see things around, pay attention to it, because there is some things that I have been noticing more within the last week that has been like popping out to my head, and I've been catching attention to it. Not only me, but my partner. And my partner is full-blown Catholic, and he is like straight up Catholic, and he thinks his saints is going to save his life, which it ain't. And then he thinks that his little Jesus on the mirror. Me and him had a huge fight a few years back. I'm like, get rid of those motherfucking saints. I don't want the motherfucking saints up in the bedroom. And then he's like, this saint gave me this. This saint gave me that. I'm like, what the fuck? Yeah, you crazy. You know what? If he needs his motherfucking saints, he can have his motherfucking saints. But we had a fight for quite a hot minute about his fucking saint and Hare Krishna wannabe on the fucking mirror. Because Jesus Christ is the new age Hare Krishna. And Hare Krishna is an old age Buddha. So it's like Hare Krishna, Buddha, Jesus. So all of them had a virgin mama. And then Tammuz was before Buddha. And then it was Tammuz, Buddha, Hare Krishna, then Jesus. They all have the same damn birthday. They all have a virgin mama. And nobody ever knows any of this stuff unless you really study it. And that's what we have to start doing. We have to understand these aspects, understand what they're doing, and then just grow from it. And that's all we can do, right? Why are certain things placed on these points of interest? And that's to hold the energy a specific way, because what they understand, or what the races that taught humanity to understand, is these power points are to hold a specific consciousness state. And these states resonate a specific way. So what it does is it elevates humanity. So what they have now done is they have now manufactured certain things like 5G and other things. And I think those are here to fuck us up and to make our lives hell. And we're going to have mass wipe-offs soon. Count on it. And I've been seeing people, I've seen more deaths in the last 6 months than I've seen in 40 fucking years. Get ready, boo, because she's here. And y'all wanted that shit. I don't understand it, man. So is Pilot Mountain a PowerPoint? Why is the Pilot Mountain a knob? And they're saying so certain areas within that line, the energy actually is protruding this area out. So it's like, so the energy goes down the line, is the center point of that line, right? And that's why the knob is there. It's actually forcing the energy out. Is CERN actually disrupting these energy points? And I got no. So what they're doing is they're over here actually elevating their power. And what they're doing is they are holding the power and disrupting the power within these points with this CERN. And CERN is something that I'd like to dive into too. And so what we'll do is, I think that's my last question. But I think that's 30 minutes in. I hope you guys have a great Wednesday. And this is the dark side of your motherfucking anus, bitches. Bye now.